Ford, SFO. Your adventure awaits.
Kia is the official automotive partner of the NBA. And we think about basketball a lot. The plays, the swagger, the glory, the game. And how we can elevate our own game with capability that takes us to another level. And ground clearance that propels us even higher. The 3-row 2025 Kia Telluride X-Line all-wheel drive. Kia, official vehicle partner of the Golden State Warriors. Call 800-333-4KIA for details. Always drive safely. Limited inventory available.
RingCentral's AI receptionist uses voice AI to answer on the first ring, so you'll never miss a call again. In just a few minutes, you can personalize your own AI receptionist to answer questions, route calls, schedule appointments, and even send texts in multiple languages. Plus, it's easy to scale. Create unlimited AI receptionists across any phone system. It's all powered by one reliable platform for effortless AI communications. See for yourself at ringcentral.com. RingCentral, voice of your business.
Hey, Dub Nation. If you're traveling to cheer on the Warriors this season, then the most important thing to pack is the United Airlines app. You can track your bags, change your flight or your seat, get a personalized map of the airport terminal, even talk to a live customer service agent. It's like having a travel agent in the palm of your hand for free. And yeah, that technically makes it a free agent. Download the United app and book your next trip today. United, proud to be the official airline of the Golden State Warriors.
15 years ago, PG&E launched Power Pathway, an education and job training program developed to increase the number of skilled workers in the energy industry. Since then, 85% of the graduates have been hired by PG&E or the construction utility industry. Focusing on students in underserved communities, women, and military veterans, Power Pathway is helping the next generation of PG&E energy professionals build a better future for themselves and a clean energy future for California. To learn more, visit pge.com/powerpathway.
What's up, Dub Nation? Do you want to get cash back on Warriors gear? All you have to do is sign up at Rakuten.com/Warriors, where you can earn 10% cash back in store and online at Warriors Shop. Once you're a member, shop your favorite stores like Fanatics and Ticketmaster and watch the cash back add up in your account. Rakuten is the most rewarding way for you to shop and maximize your savings. Join Rakuten for free today at Rakuten.com/Warriors or download the Rakuten app. That's RAKUTEN.
Make pet care stress-free with PetMeds, the official partner of the Golden State Warriors. As a trusted national online pharmacy for over 29 years, PetMeds is licensed in all 50 states to support your pet's wellness. We offer a comprehensive range of health solutions for every stage of life, from prescription medications to nutrition and supplements. Visit PetMeds.com and use promo code WARRIORS for 30% off your entire order. PetMeds, empowering you to help your pets live longer, healthier lives.
Curry, pump fake, flyby, 3-ball. Got it with the buzzer sounding!
You've been listening to Golden State Warriors basketball on the Warriors Radio Network. Presented by United Airlines. For tickets, visit Warriors.com or call 888-GSW-HOOP.
You wish you were here.
This Odyssey Sports broadcast has been brought to you by Geico. Switch and save. Get more with Geico. The lights are out.
Curry gets it, the lights go out.
The game is over, and we're here to pick up the pieces. This is Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
Moody will bring it up. Somebody's got to get a shot up here. 2 seconds, pump fake, shoots over Jabari Smith Jr., and the buzzer sounds, and the Warriors let one get away. Up 14 in the third. They lose 104-100 to the Houston Rockets. And right now, they're going to have to find a way to beat New Orleans and OKC to have a winning homestand.
Yeah, that was not great from the Warriors on this Wednesday night, the eve before Thanksgiving. Warriors fall to the Rockets 104-100 here at Chase Center. Warriors' second loss at Chase this season. They're now 6-2 here at home on the season, and they fall back to 500 20 games into the season at 10-10. We're nearly a quarter through the season, and the Warriors are a 500 basketball team right now, and they might have lost Steph Curry We don't yet know the extent of the injury. It was on a fourth quarter play where he was originally called for drawing a charge against Amen Thompson. It was a pretty physical play. It was challenged by the Rockets. They won the challenge. It was overturned. He got up and clearly was in some discomfort in that moment, stayed in, kept playing for a handful more minutes, eventually subbed out with 35 seconds left. The Warriors not completely done with, but it felt like the game was pretty much over at that point as Curry had a long talk with Dr. Rick Celebrini on the Warriors bench during a timeout. And kind of then slowly labored off the court, down the tunnel, and into the locker room. Just listen to Steve Kerr speak postgame, and we will hear that coming up in just a little bit. Steve Kerr said that he has a right quad contusion, and he will get an MRI. So that is what's upcoming. Steve Kerr did not know when the MRI would be. Whenever, of course, it happens, we'll keep you updated on 95.7 The Game. That's the bad to worse. The Warriors lose, and they also might have lost Steph Curry. I will say the fact that it is a quad contusion, that is much better news than, say, he tweaked an ankle or he twisted a knee or something like that. A quad contusion, which is just essentially like a bruise, a bad bruise, that is not comfortable, and it might cost him a couple of games. We'll see. I'm purely speculating. Just in terms of avoiding the big injury, it does feel like the Warriors avoided the big injury, but we shall see how this plays out. Welcome in. It's Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you live from Chase Center as the Dubs lose 104-100. Thought they played a decent game for the first half of this basketball game. At halftime, they led by 12. They had a really big run at the end of the first half after the game was kind of back and forth for the second quarter. Warriors got off to a really good start. They had a decent lead pretty early. They were up 14-6. They were up 20-11. They could not miss early. They made their first 4 3-pointers, their first 5 shots from the field, and it was all but Steph Curry. I mean, the first 18 points the Warriors scored was everybody but Steph that played and had scored. His first bucket came when the Warriors scored their 19th and 20th points. That was kind of the story of the game because Steph had a struggle offensively in this one. And this is a Houston team that is really good defensively, specifically with Amen Thompson, but they can put a lot of length and athleticism on Steph Curry. Steph in this game only scored 14 points, was 4 for 13 from the field, 2 for 9 from downtown, and he turned the ball over 7 times. The Warriors turned the ball over 16 times in this game. 11 of them were from Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Steph, 7 turnovers, Draymond 4. And a lot of the turnovers for Steph were ones that are just totally uncharacteristic of who he has been in his entire career. He will have, if you've watched Steph long enough, you know that he will have that turnover that kind of leaves you scratching your head at times, a bad decision on a pass or what have you. There was a couple where he just lost the handle of the basketball and tried to dive on the floor for it and ultimately couldn't get it. There was a close out-of-bounds call, whether it was off of Steph or off of Şengün. That wasn't really because of defensive pressure. It was just Steph trying to dribble move, and he lost the ball briefly. Then there's a fight for the basketball, and it goes out of bounds off of Steph. It kind of was the story of this game. Simply put, a rough Steph Curry game, and to add insult to injury, he suffers a right quad contusion late in the game as well, and ultimately has to leave the game with 35 seconds left. He was clearly in discomfort on the bench, had a long conversation with Dr. Rick Celebrini, and then eventually walked off the floor, down the tunnel, into the locker room. And again, the update from the Warriors is right quad contusion, and he is due to get an MRI. They didn't put any timeline on it. They didn't say day to day. They didn't say out a week. They didn't say anything. Just going to be doing MRI, and then we'll get some kind of timeline from that once the results of that MRI is known. But even with Steph's clunker offensively, the Warriors had every chance to win this basketball game. They were up 9 again early. They could not miss. They were off to a blazing start offensively, and then they just could not do much of anything offensively, particularly in the second half. Let's look at this half by half, because the Warriors in the first half, I thought, played a pretty good basketball game. They outscored the Rockets by 12. It was 59-47 after the first two quarters. The Warriors were just a tick under 50% from the field. They shot 49% from the field. The Rockets shot about 40% from the field. The Warriors shot 45% from deep. They made 10 threes to Houston's just 6 threes. They turned the ball over 8 times, which is a little high for the Warriors' liking, but the Rockets were right there with them with 6 turnovers. Not a gigantic edge for Houston. Points off of turnovers were only 12-10 in favor of Houston in that first half. And even with some of the rebounding numbers in favor of Houston, the Warriors still led by 12. In the first half, Houston had 14 offensive rebounds, which led to 15 second chance points. That is a big number, yet the Warriors had a double-digit 12-point lead. So what changed in the second half? Well, the Warriors' offense left them. Now, give Houston credit. They played really good defensively, and they are a very good defensive team. Even down Kevin Durant and down Steven Adams, they're still a quality defensive team. The Warriors in the second half scored just 41 points. They were 15 for 41 from the field. That's a tick under 37%, 36.6% to be exact. They made just 2 of their 21 threes, and they turned the ball over 8 more times. Consistency on the turnover spot for the Warriors, 8 turnovers in the first half, 8 turnovers in the second half, but it was the quality of shots offensively, and it was, we can also be honest, some Warriors missing open shots. It was Buddy Hield missing open shots. It was Quentin Post at times missing open shots, and it was Steph Curry missing shots that he normally makes. Buddy Hield in this game was an 0 for. He played 15 minutes and did not score. 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 3 from downtown. Quentin Post got up 11 shots, 6 were threes, made just 1 of his 6 threes, and I'd have to go through and watch the game again and chart the Quentin Post threes. I would venture to guess 3, if not 4, of those 5 missed threes were wide open threes that he would probably tell you he has to make. So the Warriors at times were getting some quality looks. They weren't going, but the frequency with which they were getting those open looks certainly decreased in the second half. And the Warriors, they were not bad defensively in the second half. In terms of forcing misses, I mean, Houston only shot 39% in the second half. 39% in the second half. They were barely better than that in the first half. The Warriors' defense largely stayed the same from one half to the other. Now, Houston did ultimately score 57 points in the second half after only 47 in the first half, but a lot of that is because of the free throw line. They had 20 free throw attempts in the second half, only 24 over the game, so 4 free throws in the first half, 20 in the second half, and a big part of that was the Warriors did play the foul game down the stretch, which adds both to the free throw and the point total, of course. And then the other thing is the offensive rebounds. That is what really killed the Warriors in this game. I think the number that tells the story is the offensive rebounds. Houston came into this game just about grabbing 40% of their misses. And what that means is when Houston's on offense, they shoot a shot. It goes in great, but if it misses, 40% of the time when their shots miss, they grab the offensive rebound. That is a cheat code. It is no team has grabbed that percent of their misses in NBA history over the course of an entire season. If they keep that up, they're going to blow out the NBA record. And tonight they missed 60 shots. They were 39 for 99 from the field. They missed 60 shots, but they grabbed 25 offensive rebounds. That is nearly 42% of their misses they grabbed. 41.7% of their misses they grabbed the offensive rebound for. That's a cheat code. You do not have to shoot a high percentage in order to take advantage of that, and that played out tonight. The Warriors made 35 field goal attempts. They only got 82. They made 35 field goals. They only put up 82. The Warriors were 35 for 82 from the field. The Rockets made 39, but they attempted 99. They got 17 more shots up than the Warriors did, despite the fact that they shot a worse percentage by a little more than 3 percentage points. Doesn't matter, because if you just get that much of an advantage on field goal attempts, you're going to make more, and you're likely going to win that basketball game, and that's what happened. Not the only way you do it. You also do it by winning the turnover battle, and that's also what Houston did 10 turnovers in this game to the Warriors 16. Points off turnovers were also in favor of Houston, 22-15. And second chance points, believe it or not, were actually even, 17-17. So the second chance points weren't terrible, but just all those extra possessions that you give Houston over the course of the game, it's going to result in those extra 17 field goal attempts, and eventually that's going to come back to bite you, which is what happened in this game. The Warriors had every chance to win this one, but they just could not get enough done offensively, and they could not grab a defensive rebound when they needed to, and they could not avoid fouling Houston in the second half as well. This one stings because this is a good basketball team, not at full strength, no Kevin Durant and no Steven Adams, but this absolutely was a winnable basketball game, and the Warriors are beginning to make a little bit of a habit of losing winnable basketball games. If you want to weigh in, shoot me a text, give me a call, 888-957-9570. If you want to weigh in, again, that's 888-957-9570. I have up our Boxer and Gerson work injury attorneys text line. Again, 888-957-9570. I see the 510. The 415, let's see, the 925 chiming in on the YouTube chat as well, youtube.com/957 the game. Everything we do there powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Let's see, I see a Jeff, I see a Stan, I see a Empire, Riptide, let's see, Drum Committee, UC Fanatic, a few others, JFA. Keep the comments coming. Arnell, I see you. Empire, I don't remember if I shouted you out yet. Appreciate all the chats coming in on YouTube as well. This was a game where if you want to look at it from the glass half full perspective, I think the way to do it is the Warriors could have beaten a really good basketball team when Steph put up one of the worst performances we've seen from him in a while. It wasn't just that he wasn't making shots that he normally does. It was, again, those 7 turnovers. He scored just 14 points. It took him 13 field goal attempts to do that. 4 for 13 from the field, 2 for 9 from downtown. Did have 7 rebounds and 5 assists. But he turned the ball over 7 times, and that's just simply too many. And a number of them led to buckets on the other end. There were so many mini runs in this basketball game where the Warriors had a chance to either continue a run of their own or get a big bucket to cut into the deficit or build the deficit up to 10 or 12, but a turnover kind of halted their momentum, resulted in a Houston bucket, and then another turnover. Back-to-back turnovers led to another Houston bucket. Then suddenly, instead of you having some momentum, it's a 5-0 Houston run. They're up and running. The Warriors call timeout. Momentum has shifted, and that happened 3 or 4 or 5 different times over the course of this basketball game. Who were positives for the Warriors in this one? I thought that Will Richard had himself one of his best games as a professional. Will Richard might have been the Warriors' best player today. Jimmy Butler was really good in this game. Jimmy Butler scored 21 points to lead the way for the Warriors on 11 shots, got to the line 7 times and made all of them. 5 rebounds, 5 assists, a couple of steals, had the ball in his hands often, did not turn the ball over once. I thought Jimmy Butler was good in this game, but Will Richard changed the game multiple times just purely based on his hustle. There was this moment at the end of the first half where I think Will Richard single-handedly changed the game. It was a 1-point Warrior lead. Actually, pardon me, it was a 3-point Warrior lead, 47-44, with a little more than 2 minutes left in the first half. Podziemski misses a 3, and Will Richard grabs the offensive rebound. In the fight for that offensive rebound and then the ensuing Will Richard shot attempt, Amen Thompson fouls him, and it was reviewed and upgraded from a common foul to a flagrant foul. So Will Richard, because of his effort on the offensive glass, drew a flagrant foul, made both free throws. As a result of the flagrant foul, the Warriors got the free throws and the ball, and Will Richard then made a corner 3 on the ensuing possession. That was a 5-point Warriors possession, all Will Richard, that took them from up 3 to up 8 over the course of just a couple of seconds. They later would draw an offensive foul on Alperen Şengün, and then Steph made a three-pointer, one of his 2 3-point makes on the game. Warriors go up by 11 at that point with a minute left. It ultimately turns into a 12-3 run to end the first half, and the Warriors, who were up by 3, were kind of clinging to that lead. The tide kind of turned in that middle part of the second quarter when the Warriors offense was really struggling. Then they just went on a burst, 12 points in 2 minutes, sparked by Will Richard, and that pushed the lead to 12 at halftime, and that kind of continued into the third quarter as well, and it was Will Richard again, another offensive rebound and a putback. Then he hit a fadeaway from the free throw line to beat the shot clock buzzer and gave the Warriors their largest lead of the game at 14 at that point. It was 63-49, 10 to go in the third quarter, and then from that point on, the Warriors' offense was nowhere to be seen at that point. I thought Will Richard had a phenomenal impact on this basketball game once again, and it's a shame the Warriors wasted that effort because he was really, really good. He scored 18 points. He had 6 rebounds. 3 of them were offensive. All 3 of his offensive rebounds led to points, by the way. He had another offensive rebound and a putback in the fourth quarter, in a clutch moment in the fourth quarter. All of his offensive rebounds led to second chance points. That's part of the reason why, despite the rebounding edge in favor of Houston, the second chance points were actually even, believe it or not. The Rockets 25 offensive rebounds, the Warriors double, 13, so essentially double the offensive rebounds in favor of Houston, but the second chance points were 17-17. So the Warriors were more efficient on their second chances than Houston was, and a big part of that was because the 3 offensive boards that Richard grabbed, he scored on all of them. And that first offensive rebound with the flagrant foul on Amen Thompson also led to the three-pointer on that same possession. I don't know if in the official scorebook that goes down as 5 second chance points. Honestly, I think it should, because that three-pointer does not happen if Will Richard does not get the offensive rebound, but it might not. Regardless, though, the effort from Will Richard was there the entire game. He and Jimmy Butler, I think, were the Warriors' best players all game long in this one. There's no doubt about that. The bad news is there wasn't a lot else on the offensive end. The Warriors defensively, I thought, were pretty good. Reed Sheppard, the second-year guard from Kentucky, really hurt them. He had a career-high 31 points. After kind of a slow start to begin this season, he's really come along of late. He was thrust into a starting job in a really important role on this team when Fred VanVleet went down late in the offseason with a season-ending ACL injury. The Rockets kind of were left with no choice but to not hand the franchise over to Reed Sheppard, but hand a big responsibility over to Reed Sheppard. And you could tell he was a little hesitant early in the season, but he's been a lot better of late, and I didn't have him scoring 31 in this game today, but I was not shocked to see him have a big role. He was very shot happy in the first half and really throughout the game. I mean, he put up 25 shot attempts, but I swear he must have shot every possession down early in this basketball game. He ultimately puts up 25 shots, makes 12 of them, goes 4 for 12 from the field, has 9 rebounds, 5 assists to go with a career-high 31 points. I think a big part of this game as well was GP2 going down. GP2 left in the first half. It looked like it is an ankle injury. According to the Warriors, he rolled his ankle. And he's day-to-day. We'll see where it goes from here for GP2. Reed Sheppard got off to a good start, and it was while GP2 was on the bench. GP2 then came in and guarded him for a stretch in the second quarter. That's kind of when Reed Sheppard was putting shots up, but he wasn't getting them to go. And then GP2 went down, and Reed Sheppard kind of controlled the second half in this one ultimately. I mean, in the second half, what was Reed Sheppard in this basketball game? He was 6 for 12 from the field for 16 points, along with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. That is a hell of a half of basketball, and he was a plus 16 in the 19 second half minutes that he played. It's another case, I think, for the Warriors of a quick ball-handling guard that really hurts them. We've seen it time and time again. And it's why the GP2 injury, I think, impacted Reed Sheppard. And we're going to hear from Steve Kerr coming up in a little bit here on Warriors Wrap-Up. I was able to sit in on his post-game presser, and I asked him about Reed Sheppard. Specifically, I wanted to know whether GP2's injury impacted Reed Sheppard's production offensively, and you're going to hear Steve Kerr's answer in a little bit, but Steve essentially said, the GP2 injury hurt, but don't want to take anything away from Reed Sheppard. He was awesome in this game, and that's absolutely true. But on the Warriors team right now, that is so lacking perimeter defense. You lose GP2, and maybe you feel like GP2 shouldn't be a part of the rotation. I think largely he's been pretty good for the Warriors. Now you got to temper your expectations offensively, what you're getting from him as a scorer. It's never going to be amazing in that regard, but considering the Warriors' other options as a point of attack defenders, GP2 is one of the best the Warriors have on this roster. Steve Kerr has said publicly he thinks Moses Moody is that guy. And he might be one of the Warriors' best. Not might, he is currently. I think that has less to do with Moses' ability and more to do just with the relative lack of perimeter defenders the Warriors have. Moses is not a bad defender by any stretch. I'm not saying that. I just think Moses Moody does not have really the lateral quickness that it takes to stick with a lot of these quick guards. And much like Ryan Rollins did in Milwaukee, much like Quentin Jackson did, in Indiana, much like, and Denny Avdia doesn't really fit the smaller, quicker guard prototype, but still a ball handler who can drive past your perimeter defenders. Denny Avdia did that all week or all game long last week when the Blazers were in town. The Warriors don't really have a good perimeter defender, a guy that you can say, all right, I'm going to take this guy one-on-one. He's got the ball. He's trying to take me off the dribble. I can stop him. Or at the very least, I can funnel him to a good part of the floor defensively. That has not happened consistently for the Warriors. It's why the ensuing or the potential return of DeAnthony Melton relatively soon is going to be huge for the Warriors. Because, Melton isn't an all-defense type, and we'll see what his lateral quickness is when he comes back from the ACL surgery, which is a question. You don't expect him to just immediately be anywhere near what he was in the past, and he's had a lot of injuries in his career, so that's also a major concern. But again, I think it has less to do with maybe an individual's prowess at that certain skill and more to do just, he's probably better than almost everybody else the Warriors have in that spot. Because it's no knock on who Steph has been in his career. Defense has never been his strong suit. Now, that's not saying that much because offense is by far his strong suit. He might be the best offensive player to ever play the game of basketball. That's how good he's been. So defense has never been his calling card. I think generally he's been a little disrespected, a little underrated defensively, but he's not a guy that's going to stay in front of ball handlers consistently. Podziemski is certainly not that either, at least not right now. I don't think he has that skill set in him. I personally don't think Moses Moody is your best point of attack defender either. It's not Buddy Hield, despite the effort that Buddy Hield shows defensively most nights. Kind of by process of elimination, it's going to be DeAnthony Melton. I do think this is where Jonathan Kuminga's absence hurts the Warriors as well. I'm not going to mistake Jonathan Kuminga for an all-defense caliber player either. I think he has potential to be a very good defender, and we've seen it in spurts. The issue for Kuminga is I think he tends to maybe lose himself a little bit on the defensive end, especially if it's not going well for him offensively. But there's no doubt, just in terms of athletic gifts, who do you think might be the best Warrior when tasked with trying to stay in front of a quick ball handler? I mean, I think it's Jonathan Kuminga, more so because of just what his athleticism is, as opposed to, I've seen him do it over and over and over again. If I just have to bet on somebody who can physically stay in front of someone like Reed Sheppard, I might say Kuminga by process of elimination. So I think the Warriors have really missed Kuminga. Now, I say that with an asterisk because it's got to be good Kuminga, and we've seen good Kuminga this year. We've seen bad Kuminga this year. It's got to be good Kuminga. But the Warriors have absolutely missed that good Kuminga. He would have made a big difference. He would have made a big difference over the Warriors' last 5 games. They're 1-4 in their last 5. And actually, now that I just say that out loud, this is a really weird stretch, a really weird first 20 games for the Warriors. You break their first 20 games down into 5-game increments. They've played 4 separate 5-game increments, right? 4-1 to begin in their first 5-game increment. Their second 5-game increment, 1-4. Their third 5-game increment, 4-1. Their fourth 5-game increment, now 1-4. They've gone 4-1, 1-4, 4-1, 1-4. A strange way to get to 500 at 10-10, but that's where the Warriors are. I think the one guy that I did not mention as a potential point-of-attack defender, we need to see more of it, and he has the ability, I think, athletically, and also he's young. It is Will Richard. Will Richard is a plus defender. I think we've got to see it a little bit more often. Does not mean that he does not get beat, but Will Richard is a guy that can potentially stay in front of those kind of quick ball handlers. But that is a big issue for the Warriors, and I also think that leads to the defensive rebounding issues. Not that I don't know. Maybe there's a lot of people out there that disagree. The Warriors were a really good rebounding team last year despite their relative lack of size. And really the only rebounder they lost, really one of the only players that they lost, was Kevon Looney. Looney, a great rebounder for his size, no doubt. But it's not as if he was playing 30 minutes a night either. And there were times where he was hardly playing at all. I do think the Warriors should be a decent rebounding team once again this season, especially when they're healthy with, Draymond and Kuminga and Horford. I think part of the reason why the defensive rebounding issues have been prevalent, specifically I'm talking about the Portland game last Friday and tonight, well, one, Houston is the best in the world at that. They rebound 40% of their misses, which is an otherworldly number. That is an incredible percentage. They're great at it. Portland, not bad. They're a large team with Klingon and some others, and an athletic team with Tumani Kamara and Shaden Sharp, although he did not play on Friday. They can go and get some boards too. But I think if you're the Warriors, you don't just want to react to the result. You're trying to find the cause. You don't want to just try to put a Band-Aid on the issue, but find out that's not really what's causing the issue in the first place. I think part of the reason why the Warriors have had trouble rebounding the basketball is because of their point-of-attack defense. Because what happens is if you can't stay in front of anybody on the perimeter, say tonight, Reed Sheppard drives by Podziemski, for example, which happened multiple times. I don't mean to pick on Podziemski. It happened to Steph Curry. It happened to Moses Moody. He's driving by dudes. Denny Avdija was driving by everybody that guarded him last Friday when the Blazers were in town. Let's just say Reed Sheppard drives past Pods, right? And he gets into the paint. Then the Warriors defenders down low, let's just say it's Draymond. Draymond has a decision to make. It's also Quentin Post. They have decisions to make. All right. Am I going to come off my guy, Şengün, or Capella, or whoever it is, and stop the drive? The answer is yes. You're trying to take away a layup. That's what you should do. Or make it, force him into a floater, or a little 10-foot jumper. Anything but giving up a layup. So, when Sheppard drives past his defender, Draymond comes out to help. Reed Sheppard shoots the shot anyway. Draymond forced the miss. He missed it. But then what happens? Draymond came off of Şengün, or Post came off of Capella, and then there's nobody there to box out the big. Or there is somebody. The way that it happens is you rotate, right? Draymond steps up, leaves his guy to go and defend the drive. Then who's ever, in the corner, whether it's Buddy Hield or Will Richard or Steph or whoever, then rotates down and tries to box out the guy that Draymond left. Well, that's a mismatch. You can't ask Will Richard to try to box out Clint Capella or Alperen Şengün. I mean, you can, but you're going to lose that battle 9 times out of 10, and that's what happens. So, if you just play it straight up, if you don't need Draymond to help off of his man, and he can stay plastered to Clint Capella or Şengün or whoever it is, yeah, I'm taking Draymond to win that battle because he has inside position, and while Şengün has a gigantic wingspan and certainly has Draymond beat in terms of height, Draymond is a strong enough guy down low to box him out and grab the rebound, or at the very least, just box out Şengün and allow somebody else on the Warriors to grab the rebound. So I think the defensive rebounding issues, it is, would more size help? Absolutely it would. But this is also, I think, a defensive issue in terms of keeping guys in front, because therefore you can allow Draymond and Quentin Post and others to stay on their man, and you get a cleaner box out, and you grab more rebounds that way. Clint Capella on Quentin Post was an absolute mismatch in this game, and it only gets heightened when Post has to help off and go stop a driver. Clint Capella in this game played 18 minutes. 18 minutes for Clint Capella, and he grabbed 12 rebounds. 8 of them were offensive boards. 8 of them were offensive boards. He dominated, and a lot of that was against Quentin Post, but it was, he's not discriminatory. He's beating everybody for offensive rebounds. Let's put it that way. He had 8 offensive boards. For example, or for comparison's sake, the Warriors team leader on rebounds, Draymond Green, had 8 as a whole. That's offensive and defensive boards. Clint Capella had 8 offensive rebounds alone. And by the way, if you were listening to Warriors Live, you heard me say Draymond's over on rebounds. That one cashed relatively cleanly with 8 total, but it was not enough. The Warriors still got absolutely trounced on the offensive glass. Out-rebounded in total by just 6. But 28 defensive boards for Houston, 25 offensive boards for Houston. Hard to win a basketball game when you're giving that team, or any team, that many more second chance points. Wow. There was also, despite all of this, I spent so much time talking about kind of the larger things in this game and what is hurting the Warriors. I also think we got to talk about what happened down the stretch, because the Warriors were in this game. It was a tie basketball game in clutch time down the stretch, yet the Warriors lost this one. And there was a number of sequences that went into it, and we'll get into that when we come back, because there's a lot to dive into there. Plus, we're going to hear from Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr talked about Steph Curry's injury and a whole lot more, and everything going on with his Warrior team right now. So we will do that when we come back, plus time for your calls and your texts at 888-957-9570. Let's go to break. We'll come back, continue to break this one down. It's Wednesday evening, Thanksgiving Eve. Thanks for being with me here on Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game. Mark Randy with you. The Dubs lose 104-100. They're back to 500 at 10-10, nearly exactly a quarter into the 2025-26 season. Time for a break. When we come back, Steve Kerr and more. It's Warriors Wrap-Up. Mark Randy with you live from Chase on 95.7 The Game.
Looking for lifelong financial guidance? Look no further than Pettinelli Financial Partners, your dedicated financial coaches for every stage of life's journey. Whether you're planning for retirement, starting a family, or buying a home, we're here for you every step of the way. Visit PettinelliFP.com. The financial consultants at Pettinelli Financial Partners are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratos Wealth Partners, a registered investment advisor. Stratos and Pettinelli are separate entities from LPL Financial.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Now it's time for the closer of the week. Presented by LiftMaster and RNS Doors. Turn your garage into the envy of the neighborhood. Visit rnsdoors.com.
This week's closer comes from Jackie from San Francisco. The RNS team did a fantastic job. I'm so thankful to Sal, Alexis, and Fred for fixing our garage gate problem. They were professional, friendly, and truly went above and beyond. I really appreciate their great work.
Recently, my garage door opener was not working. I was in need of a closer. I was put in touch with RNS Doors, and they hooked me up with a brand new garage door opener from LiftMaster. With LiftMaster's MyQ connectivity, my garage door opener can be controlled right from my smartphone. You'll know when a door or gate has been left open and can close it with a tap, no matter where I am. Be one of the first 10 callers and receive 20% off a LiftMaster garage door opener.
Call 1-800-FIX-A-DOOR. That's 800-FIX-A-DOOR. Or visit rsdoors.com. R&S Doors. Look for the red truck.
Come into Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill and see an amazing selection of Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliances live and on display in one of the largest living kitchens in the country. And save with Full Suite Savings Event. With qualifying purchase, get 3 additional years of protection or qualify for a $1,000 rebate. For the largest selection of Sub-Zero, Wolf, and Cove appliances, visit the Living Kitchen at Friedman's Appliance in Pleasant Hill or at friedmansappliance.com.
Mama Bear. I hear our old Fast Track tag won't be saving us money on bridge tolls anymore.
That's because bridge carpool rules are changing on January 1st. But don't worry, Papa Bear. I got a new Fast Track Flex tag. Huh? See?
Mama, what are the numbers for?
Well, Baby Bear, that tells the system how many people are in the car, so we can get a discount when there are 3 or more of us. We are 3 bears, and we're setting our tag to 3+. So it's just right.
So now we'll keep saving money on tolls?
Mm-hmm. You bet your cushy driver's seat, Papa.
That'll make up for this cold takeout porridge. Yeah.
My breakfast burrito is just right.
Starting January 1st, 3 or more people are required for carpool discounts on all bridges. A Fast Track Flex toll tag set to 3+ is required for discounts on all bridges except the Bay Bridge and the Golden Gate. Visit getfasttrack.org for details.
Hey, it's your boy Guru. Every time we put a rat on the table during our show, it's brought to you by Atco Pest Control. Atco Pest Control is a family-owned local business proud to provide pest control in the Bay Area for over 35 years. Atco uses natural methods to give you a peace of mind and keep your family out of harm's way. Quality pest control doesn't have to empty your savings either. Don't wait. Go to atcopestcontrol.com for all your pest control needs. They got you covered.
He's the best interview in the Bay Area.
He looked like Steph Curry always has, so he's still got it. I mean, I think the biggest thing when you're 37 is maintaining the level over the course of 82 games.
And he joins Willard and Dibbs every week during the NBA season.
We have a blueprint that everybody's feeling confident with.
Steve Kerr is presented by Great Clips. In sports, success is about team effort, and the same is true for your hair. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ-FM and HD1 San Francisco on Odyssey Sports Station and the home of the Golden State Warriors and Valkyries. Always live on the free Odyssey app and now coming to you live from the Laughing Monk Studios.
Richard in the left corner after the throw-in, guarded by Şengün. Eyes the big guy, throws to Draymond. Richard will pin down for Curry. Ball to Curry, over the shoulder, toss to Richard. He'll turn, float up a high arcing shot. It's good over Jabari Smith. Buzzer sounding. Will Richard showing poise of a veteran.
Now back to Warriors Wrap-Up on 95.7 The Game.
Yeah, that was 2 of Will Richard's 18 points in this game. I thought he was maybe the Warriors' best player in this game. It was him and Jimmy Butler tonight. There's no doubt it was those two. And then you got to do some searching to find the next best Warriors player in this one. Will Richard, 18 points. 7 of 12 from the field, made a couple of threes. He was 5 for 5, by the way, on twos. I think all of those were right around the rim. Had 6 rebounds, 3 offensive. They all led 2 points immediately for the Warriors. Also had a couple of steals. Did not turn the ball over himself. In a game the Warriors lost, he was a positive in the plus-minus, although not the Warriors' best plus-minus. Draymond Green was a +9, Moses Moody a +7, and Steph Curry, despite having 7 turnovers, was a +5. A big part of that is because those guys were on the floor in the very beginning of the basketball game when the Warriors got off to a 20-11 beginning. As we zoom out for a little bit here and welcome back, it's Warriors Wrap-Up. Mark Randy with you on 95.7 The Game, live from Chase Center. As we zoom out and just think about this Warrior team, 20 games in. They're 10-10. And obviously, how you feel about 10-10 depends on how you got to 10-10. And it's one thing if Steph missed 8 games and if Jimmy missed 6, and maybe Steph was off to a rough shooting start to begin the season. Largely, I mean, Steph missed, those 3 games because of the injury bug and then missed another game in Miami. Largely, though, Steph has been healthy. Jimmy's missed, I think, just the 2 games, the one in Sacramento and the one in Miami. Draymond's missed 3, those same 2 games, plus last time out, Monday versus Utah. Largely, you've been mostly healthy, and your star guys, your key guys, the guys that you need more than anybody else, have stayed healthy. The one other is Kuminga, who's missed 7 games now, the last 7 games, and I do think that he has been missed. There are some fans out there who refuse to believe that Kuminga has been missed. I'm telling you he has been missed. But again, Steph, Jimmy, Draymond haven't missed a ton of basketball games. 20 games in, and they've missed, a combined 9 games? And a lot of those have been overlapping. A bunch of them have been overlapping. And you're getting good performances from specifically Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler almost night in and night out. 37-year-old Steph is averaging 29 points. He's shooting 48% from the field, 40% from deep, and 91% from the free throw line. He's darn near at 50-40-90 at 37 years old at 29 points per game. 36-year-old Jimmy Butler is averaging 20 a game on 53% from the field, 45% from downtown, and 86% from the free throw line. You're getting, just in terms of NBA history, this kind of performance from a 37-year-old and a 36-year-old, darn near unheard of. Your 2 stars are playing like stars, and you're 10-10. That is a really bad sign for the Warriors. Because, one, I think it's fair to assume there might be stretches of this season where those guys miss more time than they have to this point. That's certainly possible, and we're looking at, a quad contusion for Steph Curry. Is he going to play Saturday? I don't know. The Warriors have Thursday off. They have Friday off. They play Saturday coming up next with Kevon Looney and the Pelicans are in town. Then they have Sunday off, Monday off, and they play against OKC, the defending champs, on Tuesday. I don't know if Steph's going to play in those games. We're going to find out. It's almost as if the Warriors... Wasted is not the right word because there's been some other circumstances that have played into the reason why they're 10-10, and a lot of it is schedule-based. For example, tonight was the Warriors' 20th game of the season. They've had 5 back-to-backs. The Rockets have played just 16 games. They've had 0 back-to-backs. So that's a pretty stark difference between these 2 teams. The Warriors have played 4 more games and have had 5-0 back-to-backs when you compare to the Rockets. So that is part of it. The Warriors, though, have gotten otherworldly Steph Curry through the first quarter of the season and really good Jimmy over the course of the 20 games. Of course, there's been, highs and lows for both of their performances over the course of 20 games. Largely, though, you could not have asked for more from Steph. And honestly, over the course of a 20-game stretch, hard for me to ask for more from Jimmy. There's been moments here or there where, Jimmy, I'd like to see you be a little bit more aggressive. But largely, if you were to tell me that you get that from Steph and that from Jimmy over the course of the season, you take it in a heartbeat. You don't even think about it. The Warriors have gotten that, and they're 10-10. So that is majorly concerning. Absolutely majorly concerning. You're getting almost nothing offensively from anybody else with any kind of regularity. And not that Kuminga has been incredibly consistent with his offense in his career, and even this season has not been. Began the season really, really good. But before he got hurt, it was definitely a downturn for him. But just because he has the ability to consistently give you 16. Not that it's going to happen, but he has the ability. I don't know if there's many other Warriors on this roster that you can even say, I think they have the ability to night in and night out give me 16. I don't have that belief in Pods right now. I don't have that belief in Moody right now. I don't have that belief yet in Will Richard, although he had 18 today. He's good, and for where he was drafted and the fact that he's a rookie, he's been absolutely amazing, but I'm not expecting or asking that from Will Richard at this point. I can't count on Buddy Hield to do that. Draymond Green has never really been that kind of guy offensively. Quentin Post, his three-point shot is kind of betraying him right now. Gary Payton, of course, is not that guy. And beyond those guys, you're asking, Pat Spencer and Guy Santos, those are, of course, not those guys either. So you just don't have offensive support. You don't have offensive support behind Steph and Jimmy. And unless something changes with some of these other guys on the roster, or Kuminga comes back and plays consistently offensively and gets you around 16 a game, you're going to continue to run into major offensive issues. It's just the way that the roster is. You need someone to give you 16 a night. I think the likeliest outcome is Kuminga, at least until a potential trade happens, which is possible as well. But on the current roster, who's most well-equipped to do that? I think it has to be Kuminga almost by default. And that is majorly concerning for the Warriors, because you add in those offensive issues, the lack of support, offensive scoring behind Steph and Jimmy, and you pair that with what's happening defensively, it's all right. There's major issues on both sides of the floor right now, and that's true for the Warriors. I wanted to, you know what? We're going to talk about the end of game sequence in a little bit. Let's first though hear from Steve Kerr, and then we'll talk about what went wrong down the stretch, because there's a lot to talk about there as well. Plus, if you want to weigh in, 888-957-9570. If you want to add to this conversation as well. Let's go to Steve Kerr though. The Warriors head coach addressed the media after the Warriors' 104-100 loss to the Rockets. The Dubs now 10-10. You're going to hear him talk about the Warriors' record. You're not going to want to miss what he had to say there, plus a whole lot more. Here is Steve Kerr addressing the media post-game after his team's 104-100 loss to the Rockets. Here is Coach Kerr.
Did you get any clarity on even what body part, Steph injured?
Quad?
Right quad contusion. We'll get an MRI.
Okay. Gotcha.
He was limping back to the replay challenge. Did you notice that? Did he?
Yeah.
That was the same thing that it kind of cropped up throughout.
Yes, I didn't ask him. I always just rely on the training staff to tell me whatever I need to know. So I saw, but I did see him limping. Yeah.
You know when the MRI will be?
I don't.
The start of the fourth quarter looked like where the game kind of really changed. What have you seen from your second? What did you see from your second unit there, and what generally it doesn't seem to have been as explosive or as as dynamic as it been in the past?
I would argue that the game changed, the last 5 minutes of the third quarter. We had a 12-point lead in there, and we just started turning it over and fouling. We were in the bonus, or they were in the bonus for the last 5 minutes. I think we fouled them 3 or 4 times, and so we just kept giving them easy points and didn't really execute much offensively. We missed some open ones, but it never felt like we had any rhythm and flow, which is why I went to Pat in the fourth. Pat has to start the fourth. He's given us some good minutes off the bench so far in the early season and helped us get some offensive rhythm, but that group just couldn't get anything going, and so it was a tough stretch, late third, early fourth.
25 offensive rebounds for the Rockets. How much do you think that affected the offensive flow?
Yeah, no, that's everything, right? And we obviously know that about this team. Capella had 8 on his own. I mean, that's what they're doing. I mean, it's highest offensive rebound percentage in NBA history coming into the game, and it just went up, obviously. So, great rebounding team, very physical, and give them credit. They're doing a good job, even without some key players.
Steve, Will Richard starts the game and also is on the finishing squad. What has he done to earn your confidence to be in those roles?
Well, you can see it. He's just in the right spot, the right time. He has a lot of confidence. He's not afraid to let it fly. He never turns it over. Just connects the game. He makes the game easier for everybody else. He's just he's kind of wise beyond his years. So I've got 100% trust in him.
We got a Buddy with another 0-point game, and this is not the first time over the last several games. Is there something you can put a finger on what's happening with him offensively? Is he getting looks that he's not taking, or is it just they're not there for him recently?
Both. I mean, it's always a combination when you're a shooter. When shots aren't going in, it feels like you're not getting great looks, and then when you do get one, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. But Buddy has a long history of being a great 3-point shooter, so we're going to stay with him and encourage him to keep letting it fly.
Gary hurt his ankle. Gary Payton hurt his ankle.
Was that what it was? Ankle? Yeah.
Will he get an MRI?
I don't know. Yeah.
I think you entered tonight 23rd in offensive rating, struggled offensively in the second half. Just as a team, beyond limiting turnovers, what needs to change offensively?
Well, the turnovers is number one. I mean, I rattled off the stat to you before the game, and that just got worse today. So we're 9-1 when we win the turnover battle, 1-9 when we don't. So that's the number one thing. When we haven't turned it over, we've been good offensively. But there are times where we're not getting to our spots, not getting good enough spacing, and we're getting late in the shot clock and having to throw up a tough shot. So we'll keep looking at everything, keep trying to get better.
Steve, how would you describe your guys' identity at the 20-game mark?
How would I describe
the identity of the team right now?
The identity? Well, what did Bill Parcells say? You are what your record says you are. So we're 10-10. We're an average team, and I think we have the potential for much more, and it's my job as coach to, help these guys find that rhythm that can give us some juice, some separation, some confidence, and so I believe in them, and I believe in our guys, our continuity that we've got from not only last year but with Steph and Dre for 14, 15 years, whatever it's been. So I believe in the guys, and we've just got to keep working, and we'll get there.
Steve, to your point, obviously everything changes. Steph even has to miss a couple days. What do you think changes the most for the group if he has to miss a little bit of a stretch?
If Steph has to miss?
Yeah, if he has to miss a little bit of a stretch.
Well, it obviously changes everything. Our rotations, how we're playing, who we're playing through. So we'll see. I'm actually, when I heard it was quad, I was actually kind of relieved, better than an ankle or a knee. So hopefully he can recover quickly and be okay, but we got to hold down the fort.
Far on your right, Steve. Did you feel like GP2, Gary going down, impacted the ability to slow down Reed Shepherd, and what did you see from Reed specifically in the second half?
Reed was incredible. He had a great game, dominated the whole game, and he got off to a good start. I thought we were too soft on him early, and when we did put pressure on him, we had some success, but he got free, and obviously he's got the speed and quickness to get downhill and hit that mid-range shot. So yeah, Gary's injury hurt, but that's not that's not the story. The story is that Reed played an amazing game.
Steve, how do you judge your defensive effort against Şengün tonight?
The defensive effort was just awesome against Şengün. I mean, Draymond remains one of the great defenders in the league and guards everybody, including guys, almost a foot taller than him, and he battled him every possession down there.
All right, that's Steve Kerr post-game tonight. First of all, what he said about Steph Curry with the assistance of Warriors PR ace Raymond Ritter. Right quad contusion for Steph Curry, and he's due to get an MRI. Don't know when that's going to happen. I would imagine the Warriors not knowing exactly when is tomorrow's Thanksgiving. Don't know exactly how it's all going to play out. The Warriors do have 2 days off tomorrow, off Friday. Next game is Saturday, so we will see, of course, whenever there's an update, even if it's not ours while we are on the air, live and local, we'll, of course, get you updated on all social media platforms. So give us a follow at 957 The Game, wherever you are on social media. I think the other big thing that Steve Kerr said when asked about, kind of the state of the Warriors 20 games in, he said, quote, "We're 10-10, and he invoked Bill Parcells, your record is what you say you are, or you are what your record says you are. Quote, "We're 10-10, we're an average team. I think we have the potential for much more. It's my job as coach to help these guys find that rhythm that can give us some juice. I believe in our guys." But the money line there was, we're an average team, and I don't think many people could argue with that right now. There are some other post-game comments coming in, and this was in the locker room. We do not yet have the audio of this, so I'm just going to read some of the quotes off to you. This is Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler speaking post-game in the Warriors locker room. Up first, Jimmy Butler on the Warriors. He said, quote, "We don't box out. We don't go with a scouting report. We let anybody do whatever they want. Open shots, get into the paint, free throws. It's just sad." That's what Jimmy Butler had to say post-game in addition to other things. Draymond Green on the Warriors' defense, he said, quote, "Our defense is bleep, four-letter word that begins with S." He said, quote, "We are individually," I know everyone likes to twist words, I said we are individually bleeping awful. He continued, "I ain't a big keep the spirit up guy. That ain't my department. I mother bleep you." Is Draymond Green speaking post-game. So both Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, very strong words about the Warriors' defense. And it's interesting because it kind of goes counter to what Steve Kerr has said multiple times of late. Steve Kerr has said not worried about the defense, at least not as much as he's worried about the offense. I think both have points. I do think of late, specifically point of attack, against Portland, it was a mess, and then tonight it was a mess once again, although it really didn't hurt them because of the percentage that Houston shot. It hurt them in terms of the offensive rebounds. There are major, major issues there, but I do think it's worth noting that two of the leaders, and I think the two specifically, the one emotional leader in Draymond Green, are both aggressively singling out the defensive side of the basketball, while the head coach is talking. Not that he's saying the defense has been perfect, I'm not saying that, but he has said overall, over the course of the season, he's less worried about the defense and more worried about the offense. I tend to agree with Steve Kerr. I've said that multiple times. I have more faith in the Warriors defense than I do the offense, but there's no doubt that Portland game, and I think also tonight, the Warriors defensive shortcomings are very apparent. Very, very apparent. And some of it is just personnel-based. Some of it is also a lack of attention to detail. Steph Curry has talked about this as well. It's game plan stuff, not knowing the strengths and weaknesses of opponents, not understanding what you should be doing when X player has the ball, when he doesn't have the ball. Should you help off of him? Are you helping too much off of him? Should you leave this guy open or not? It's simple things like that I think screams attention to detail that is also hurting the Warriors defensively. I don't want it to seem like I think the Warriors defense is perfect, because they're far from perfect. I've been talking a lot here over the last hour or so about the Warriors defense, and tonight it was not good. The Rockets shot 39% from the field, but don't let that fool you. The Warriors defense was not good in this basketball game. They gave up 25 offensive rebounds, and a defensive possession is not done until you grab the defensive rebound 25 times. The Warriors did not do that. They forced 60 missed field goals. I'd have to do a deep dive. I don't know how many times a team has missed 60 shots in a single game and won that basketball game. The Rockets might have done it multiple times because all they do is grab their own misses. Your defensive possession is not over until you grab a defensive rebound. Steve Kerr was also right to bring up the end of the third and early fourth. The Warriors had a 14-point lead relatively late in the third quarter. It was a 10-point lead relatively late in the third quarter. They had a 14-point lead early in the third. The Rockets closed the third quarter on a 12-4 run to get back within 2, and then they opened the fourth quarter on a 9-0 run. So they went from down 10 to up 7 over the course of 5 or 6 minutes or so, from the end of the third to the beginning of the fourth. The Warriors went a stretch of 7 minutes of basketball, just about 7 minutes of basketball, and third, beginning fourth, with one made field goal over 7 minutes of basketball. One made field goal over 7 minutes of basketball. And there's no coincidence, by the way, despite Steph's struggles offensively, the majority of that stretch was with Steph on the bench. That is not a surprise. Even if Steph has a night like he did tonight where he goes 4 for 13 from the field and turns the ball over 7 times, his presence out there just makes it easier for the Warriors defensively. There's no doubt. Okay, let's jump ahead to the final stretch of this basketball game because it was a tie game with 91-91 with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. 91 all, 3:30 left. This was the Amen Thompson block charge call against Steph Curry. It was initially called a charge that Steph drew. This is also where Steph got shaken up with that right quad contusion that he's going to get an MRI on at some point, I would imagine, in the next couple of days. Houston challenged the call. It was overturned and turned to a blocking foul on Steph, which resulted in Amen Thompson free throws. They take a 2-point lead. That's a big swing right there. In terms of was it a block? Was it a charge? Steph was certainly moving. He was not set, although I really don't know how the officials determine what is a charge and what isn't, because there's clearly times where defenders' feet are still moving, but they call a charge. This one I felt like was one that could have been a charge, or I've seen called a charge, because it wasn't your run-of-the-mill, the defender still moving and got in the path of the offensive player. There was legitimate, lean in and kind of lean the shoulder into Steph Curry's chest and even extend the off arm a little bit from Amen Thompson into Steph's chest. I thought that movement, the kind of shoulder duck and the extension of the forearm was enough to kind of forget that Steph's feet were still indeed moving. I thought that could have been a charge. It was ultimately called the block, results in 2 points for Houston. They take a 2-point lead. Then Podziemski fouled setting a screen, which was a great break for the Warriors. They're not even in their offensive set yet, and they have free throws because they were in the bonus. He misses both free throws. But on the second one, there was a lane violation on Houston, so he gets another opportunity, and he misses that one as well. So he just went 0 for 3 from the free throw line. In response, Reed Sheppard then hit a mid-range jumper. Instead of being tied, potentially, if you make both free throws, now you're down by 4 with a little less than 3 to go. Steph Curry then called for a charge as Aaron Holiday draws it. The Warriors challenged that, but it was upheld. They get a stop defensively, but then Steph Curry, I talked about this earlier, tried a between-the-legs dribble deep on the right wing, lost the ball. Not really a forced turnover by Houston. He just lost it. Şengün and him go diving for it. It's a ticky-tack call. I think it was right off of Steph, right call by the officials. From my view, regardless, though it was close, but it's a turnover on Steph. Ball goes back to Houston. Amen Thompson drives and scores inside. Now it's a 6-point Houston lead, a minute 25 to go. Butler did score, but Şengün then hits the mid-range jumper over Draymond late in the shot clock, back up by 6, under a minute left. Holiday fouls Steph kind of oddly early in the clock. He makes both free throws, back to a 4-point game with 45 seconds left. Will Richard tried to force something and try to get a steal, and ultimately called for a foul. Reed Sheppard, splits the free throws. Houston goes up by 5. At that point, Steph checks out. Moody made a 3. They played the foul game, but ultimately that was about it. The game was over. The 3 Podziemski missed free throws, the turnover by Steph, and then the couple ticky-tack block charge calls. They all went against the Warriors. Some of it maybe you could say is some bad luck with the calls, but the Steph Curry turnover, the Podziemski missed free throws, you just can't have those. You just simply can't have those. In a clutch moment, you can't miss 3 free throws, and in a big moment, you can't turn the ball over for your 7th turnover of the game, and that kind of was the game for the Warriors in this one. They ultimately lose 104-100, and they are now 10-10, about a quarter of the season done, and the Warriors are 500. It's a rough one for the Warriors, and they've had a handful of rough ones of late. They're now 1-4 in their last 5 as they continue their pattern of going 4-1, then 1-4, then 4-1, and then 1-4. If their first 20 games are any indicator, that means the Warriors will go 4-1 in their next stretch, which would be impressive because they've got New Orleans at home, Oklahoma City at home, then on the road at Philadelphia, at Cleveland, at Chicago. That's the next 5. Then they are in Phoenix to close out that road trip, then Phoenix back at home as we inch towards the Christmas holiday. But again, up next for the Warriors, Saturday versus New Orleans. Kevon Looney makes his return to Chase Center as a member of the Pelicans. TBD on if Steph Curry will be available. He left this game in the final minute with a right quad contusion, due for an MRI. Me speculating, I would be surprised if he plays on Saturday, but we'll see when the time comes. GP2 also left this game with an ankle. We'll await an update from the Warriors on GP2. They don't know if he's going to need an MRI for that, but he did sprain his ankle, roll his ankle in that first half, and he did not return, which I think was a factor in Reed Shepherd going off for 31 points in this game tonight, a new career high for the second-year guard out of Kentucky. Ultimately, the Warriors, though, they lose 104-100. All right, that'll do it for Warriors Wrap-Up tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. A rough one, but always great spending it here on Warriors Wrap-Up with you guys on 95.7 The Game. All right, for my guys back in the studio, they've been there for a long time today. As always, shout out to Cam Williams, our Warriors Network coordinator, and Steven Risotto for hanging out all night long. My name is Mark Randy, signing off. Thank you so much for tuning in here tonight on Warriors Wrap-Up. I will be back with you on Saturday for Warriors Live and Warriors Wrap-Up versus the Pelicans. That game tips at 5:30, which means Warriors Live begins at 4:30 right here on 95.7 The Game. Until then, though, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Enjoy time at home with the family. I hope you got family time coming up. Watch some football tomorrow, some college football on Friday, also some NFL football on Friday as well. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. I will talk to you on Saturday. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Mark Randy, signing off. Until Saturday, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'll talk to you next time on 95.7 The Game.
Are you like everybody else in the world who has no idea what to get everyone for the holidays? Well, you're in luck. We got you. Hands-free Skechers slip-ins. Because with hands-free Skechers slip-ins, you just step into them and they're on. There's no bending down, no touching, no fuss. Plus, Skechers slip-ins come in